Hi everyone and welcome to Despair Repair. Now, I don't know what's the situation in your country, but what I've heard from listening to the news worldwide, it is the same situation in almost all countries, and that is that the gas prices are going sky high. In Europe, as far as I've seen, diesel prices have gone through the roof, petrol prices a little less, and the worst part is that there is no sign that it's going to be any better in the near future. But I don't want to be too pessimistic. I hope it will all work out for the best. All in all, my point is that this situation is going to last for a long time, and the prices are even going to go higher than this. In this video, we wanted to share a couple of tips that will reduce your fuel costs and your fuel consumption for sure. And if you stick to them, I can tell you that you will reduce them something, and this is a rough estimate, from 30 to even 50%. Yes, they are drastic, they demand attention and everything else, but the money you're gonna save on a monthly and especially on a yearly basis is significant, if not sometimes crucial for your home budget. So I hope this video helps. Stay tuned.
DespairRepair.com.
The video you're going to watch will show you the foundation of how to save fuel, and you can notice the effects almost immediately. But besides this, if you're interested in more refined methods that save fuel more in the long run, we recommend watching one of our previous videos dedicated to this topic. The link for the full video is in the card in the corner or in the video description. Now, dear viewers, the first thing I would recommend, which is, I think, the hardest thing to implement if you want to save yourself some fuel and some big fuel money, is to get rid of the gas guzzler you might have in your household. If you have a car with a bigger engine, namely a 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, I'm not going to mention even 10 or 12 cylinders, you're going to have to get rid of it. You're either going to have to sell it or preserve it for some better times. Now, what's the most common scenario, especially, for instance, on the US market, where a 6-cylinder engine is considered a smaller engine and an 8-cylinder engine is considered the standard? Most people have the 8-cylinder engine. And even with today's modern technology, where the fuel consumption of these engines has been massively lowered, so from 25-30 liters per 100 kilometers, it's down to, let's say, 15 to 20 liters per 100 kilometers. I'm going to use the European metric system. I hope you don't mind. I hope you get the point. Even despite this fact, it's a gas guzzler. So the solution would be to get rid of these cars. A 6-cylinder is a better situation, since they these modern 6-cylinder engines consume about 10 to 12 liters or even more per 100 kilometers. But all of this is a big fuel consumption, in my opinion. What is the very good alternative? And for all the US viewers, please don't throw a rotten tomato into the phone and onto the TV screen. Buy yourself a car that has an inline 4-cylinder engine. These are the engines that are the most common for all manufacturers out there. All manufacturers make these kinds of engines. Sadly, in newer times, they're starting to be replaced with 3-cylinder engines, which I really don't like, but that's my opinion. They are also good and long-lasting. With a 4-cylinder engine, I think you will be the winner regarding fuel consumption. Why? Well, mainly the ratio between the fuel consumption and what you get is very, very good. For a fuel consumption of, let's say, 5, 6 to 8 liters, that's the average for most 4-cylinder engines, you get, on average, from 120 to 250 horsepower, depending if the engine has a turbine, of the injection system, and so on. You get decent driving characteristics, and you get a decent car. Most of these engines are used for bigger sedans, hatchbacks, and station wagons, so you get, all in all, a very good package. You get a very good car. And I don't know about you, but 150 to 200 horsepower is very good horsepower for decent all-round driving. So for things like overtaking, to things like cruising comfortably on the highway at 160 kilometers per hour, to commuting every day, for instance, from work and back. It won't cost you much. So all in all, this is a very good package. Besides this, you may also ask yourself, should you buy yourself a diesel, petrol, or a hybrid? Well, I would recommend a petrol engine. Why? Well, if you buy a diesel or a hybrid, these all are good. They have the least fuel consumption, but they have very complicated systems on them. And if you buy a car with these engines and systems, that are with high mileage, if you buy them with low maintenance, you are in for big trouble. And all of the savings you make on fuel, you will pay through very expensive maintenance and very expensive parts. Okay, so what I would recommend for you to buy instead of the big 6 or 8 cylinder engines is an inline 4-cylinder engine that has 1500 to 2000 ccms and that has around 150 to 200 horsepower. Okay. Next, dear viewers, is also a very crucial step, and that is to do a tune-up on your car as soon as you can. Okay. Now, if you maintain your car on time, you can skip this step. But if you're not vigilant around maintenance, check mainly when you change the engine oil and when you've changed all the filters for the last time. If it's due or overdue, change it as soon as possible. If the engine oil is of low quality within the engine, if the filters are clogged and filthy, that involves the fuel filter and the air filter mainly, you will have a seriously increased fuel consumption. The engine will not function properly. This kind of tune-up you can do on your own, you can check it on your own. So see when the engine oil was changed the last time, check the filters. We've made separate videos on this, you can check it out and see how to do these simple steps. Another thing, if you notice any kind of misfire, rough idling or something like that, you have to solve it as soon as possible. For instance, on the Skoda, we've solved a common problem on petrol engines, which is changing the ignition coil. Also a very simple job. If you have a misfire, it's almost impossible to drive this way. You can easily notice it. And if you are persistent and continue to drive this way, the fuel consumption will go through the roof. For instance, on the Skoda, when there was a misfire, the engine consumption went from the usual 6 liters per 100 kilometers to about 10. And that's what happens to most cars. If you have some rough idling problem, you can check the throttle body, you can check the spark plugs or something like that. There's a ton of things you can do on your own. Besides this, if you hear any kind of rattling around the engine, if you hear a bad bearing, like a grinding sound or something like that, if you hear any kind of weird noise, be sure to check it out as soon as possible. Any kind of resistance when the engine works will massively increase fuel consumption. The next thing that has a massive effect on the fuel consumption is how you drive. First of all, avoid any kind of exhibition driving. So, making skid marks on the road, burning rubber, so to say, using high revs or anything like that, that is forbidden. When you drive like this, you will increase the fuel consumption up to 50%. Also, if you don't have this kind of driving, but you like to spin the car up to high revs when shifting, if you drive a manual, the car will shift gears at normal revs, okay? Don't go too low, you'll bog down the engine, but don't go too high and it will be okay. What can I also recommend? Coasting. And I don't know, there are 2 types of coasting for the manual car. And again, I'll explain this in another video. The first coasting is the proper one, and that is when you achieve a speed of, let's say, 90 kilometers per hour and you're coasting at 1500 RPMs. So the car doesn't have more or less any kind of burden on it, any kind of weight, yet it still has a good speed and at the same time the fuel consumption is minimal. If you turn on the fuel consumption on the board computer, you'll see that the fuel consumption is the bare minimum and you still have a pretty good travel speed. And another thing I would recommend is to turn off the car when you are waiting for a long time. So if you're waiting in front, unless it's the winter season, if you're waiting in front of a shopping mall, in traffic, somewhere like that, in some sort of queue, and you're going to be there for, I don't know, half an hour, turn the car off as frequent as you can. Of course, there are these new modern start-stop systems which do this automatically, but if you don't have that, this will be equally effective. Another thing that I would recommend that comes to mind is that when you drive the car in cold weather, let the engine warm up a bit and then drive. And by this I mean a couple of minutes, you don't have to leave it idle in front of the house for half an hour. If you drive the car when the engine is stone cold, even in warmer weather, click on the fuel consumption and you will see what the values are. It is double or sometimes even triple the value of when the engine warms up. And finally, dear viewers, one more tip that is not very popular. To some people it is very annoying and very hard to implement at the beginning, but is massively effective. Massively, okay? In my opinion, it is equally effective as when you sell the gas guzzler that you have in your household. And that is plan your trips, plan your routes where you drive. And especially do this if you live in an urban environment where urban driving consumes much more fuel. So this planning has double the effect. I'm speaking about this tip from experience. When you put pen to paper, and this is what we did in our household, and when you write down the usual routes that you take, you will see for sure that you can make some sort of combination. For instance, when you go to work to pick this up, to do this, to do that, and make sort of a circle, a route like that, where you will, for the same amount of fuel, do the same or some extra things. And you should do this especially if you drive on a regular basis to work, if you have a commute to pick up the kids from school, for instance, if you go to the shopping mall, if you go to another town on a regular basis, do this for sure, okay? When you start doing this, you'll see all of the things that can be planned. You can do this on a, let's say, a daily basis. So for instance, before you sit in the car and blindly go and do this, then come back home, then again drive, to a similar place or to the other place, stop and think about it. But with this, for instance, you will cut a monthly trip of 1,000 kilometers to 700 kilometers for sure. And if you're extra diligent, you can cut it to even 500 kilometers. You can cut it in half. So that's how effective this is. The only downside of this, and why people do not implement this, is because they are essentially lazy for this, okay? Lots of people are accustomed to sit into the car and drive themselves, 5 or 6 kilometers away, 3 to 4 times a day, 5 times a day, and this increases the fuel consumption massively. So, dear viewers, those would be the tips that I recommend to reduce the fuel consumption on your car. None of these tips that I mentioned are fun. None of them are popular. Most of them are annoying, as I mentioned, and they are hard to implement. Getting rid of the car you love is hard. Changing the way you drive is annoying and hard. Planning your route to work is especially annoying, and it's not that hard, but it's annoying, and it's another thing that you have to put your mind to whenever you have to leave the house. But on the other side, as I mentioned, when you see the end results of all of this, when you see a big chunk of money left on your account that you didn't give through gas and through other kinds of fuel, you will be very satisfied, trust me. Dear viewers, the amount of money I'm talking about, if you're really diligent with this, is not small, okay? As I said, you can solve some serious things with this kind of money. Not only this, as I mentioned, the situation with gas prices and the availability of fuel is not going in any better direction. So getting accommodated to these things will come in handy. Of course, I think the situation will be better, but when you know all of this, you have the ability to adjust, and I always recommend doing this on a regular basis. Money saved is money earned. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Thank you for your time and patience. I hope all of our videos help. If you find the time, watch our other videos where you can see lots of car maintenance, driving, and related videos that should help have an easier life with your car. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.